Hello?
right. What about now? I
Can
still don't
anybody
see
hear
it.
us
I
now?
hate when this shit happens. And if y'all heard me curse, okay.
Yeah.
At least
Oh,
y'all did.
yeah, they heard you
They heard
curse.
me curse.
They
Okay.
heard us curse.
All right.
All
Give
right.
me a sign that y'all can hear us, please.
Yeah,
Let us
something.
know,
Please. Anything.
cause that was a
Anything.
little stressful. Let me see. Is that light
Hello?
still on?
Yeah,
All right.
blue light is still on.
Almost. Let's see. What else can we do? Oh, I know.
Almost.
I know. I know. Is this better? Is this better? You hear me better? Did it get
Can you hear
louder?
us now? All right.
I, all right, heard a quick little something. It didn't go out, did it? Nope, it's still there. It should be there now. Just a little delayed. All right. So, thank you for watching the Great Mind Show.
Hey.
It is he. It is him. The greatest there is. The greatest there was. Stoney Greatness. I'm the guy with the crown and hangs two inches from the ground. I'm your king, his king, your king, King Kevin.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Great Mind
Yeah.
Show. We're gonna do something different today.
Yeah.
Take it away, Stoney.
All right. So, as I was saying, thank you. Better half of greatness out there, just being excellent,
Great.
excellent producer out there.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. So we're deviating because of the fact that we don't have any shows necessarily, and people have to get caught up on P Valley. So
People.
yeah, people.
Yeah.
So once people are caught up on P Valley, we can talk about it. But we're going to talk about basically, some issues. Well, not issues, but
Views, opinions, and
conversations.
yeah.
Yeah, that kind of spurred based off of. I don't want to say obstacles. I don't want to say hurdles because those imply like some type of impediment.
Right.
Because it's not. It was just, I would say, thought-provoking moments
Okay.
that we have faced. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're going to discuss some thought-provoking moments that we have faced in during our time here, as far as really contributing behind the scenes and being behind the scenes of an event like Columbus Pride. Now, don't think that we're going to be here, uh, you know, grieving and spreading complaints about stuff, because no, because in all actuality, the team behind Columbus Metal Pride, and this is not me speaking being PC or anything else like that, this is me being real as a rock. And if y'all know anything about Stoney Greatness, is that Stoney Greatness 110% of the time, 85 days a week, 385 years at a time, is always real as a rock. Okay, so I keeps it 100 all the time. And when I tell you that the team that I've been working with behind the scenes to make Columbus Melon Pride come together is very much a cohesive unit, and we all work together very, very well. Mm-hmm. All right. Excellent weekend that we have planned. But during those, and the thing about it is, like, as with anybody, people are going to have their opinions. And when and it's not like anything I've not faced before. I've held many roles in my lifetime. I've headed up an entire organization when I was a teenager. So it was, and I've done things as far as releasing things, and got people's opinion and feedback and everything, and it's interesting, the thought-provoking moments that you come in contact with. And so that's where we're drawing today's discussion from, because we haven't had like a type of general discussion show in a while.
Yeah.
And we do that here.
And a couple of weeks ago we did have like one of those really thought-provoking ones. Mm-hmm. So we decided we would revisit that because people have views and opinions on mm-hmm. things, and I think a lot of times people take those liberties and they just start bashing stuff or mm-hmm. wanting to cancel stuff because maybe they don't understand it. So instead of asking questions or open up their minds to learning something, we try to shut stuff down.
Right.
But in this situation, we're going to build some stuff up.
Right.
And you want to just get to what we're talking about, or?
So it is a very broad subject because it kind of flows into a lot of areas of the experience that we have being, of the community, and, being of the community. So, mm-hmm. It is very much a kind of how we see ourselves conversation, but also how we see each other, but also how we've been told to see each other
That
also plays a part into that also. And it basically, like I said, we just showed the pic as far as the flyer goes. A lot of events, and one of the events that is going on is that we're having a seminar, if you will, for bottoming. Okay, and those of you that don't know bottoming is the catcher. Okay, we have a pitcher, then we have a catcher. Okay, the bottom is the catcher. All right, if you catch Madrid. Now, sorry, children, but that's what it is. Okay, and there are a lot of things that go along with being that person. Okay, especially in the type of situations that we've like to be in. I mean, we like it. So go ahead.
No, once you finish what you were saying, because
it was when we announced it, for one thing, we thought that and it came from very much a educational place, a uplifting place, to be honest with you, an empowering place. All right, and like I said, an educational place. I mean, the biggest and main motivation behind us planning the seminar and us presenting the seminar is to educate. So it's like where am I trying to get to? It's when we announced it, we kind of got a bit of a backlash as to the intent behind it and the exclusivity and nature of the seminar, and how there isn't anything that says how to be a better top or how to be a better verse or anything that came along with that. And so if Columbus Melanin Pride is supposed to be about all inclusivity and everything, why are we just appealing to the bottoms out there? And it wasn't never meant to be that way or come off that way. It was more or less an educational approach.
I gotta be careful with what I say and how I respond to this, because I think one, it definitely needs education, but also I don't know what a person prefer, that there was a topping 101, a verse 101, or a bottoming 101. It's for me, it's kind of like, if we take care of one thing, it's going to take care of the rest, in my opinion. If you take care, and you just give that knowledge that on how, because when a person is bottoming, they have to do a whole physical preparation. There is mental preparation, and bottoms, until I got more comfortable doing it, I didn't realize what bottoms actually go through. Sometimes they starve themselves, sometimes they don't, which means they got to put more time into prepping. And then they get to the place where they're going, or their partner arrives to them to give them 2 minutes and 3 strokes, and it's over. It's a little bit frustrating. But I think that also, if the other person participating in that interaction or that exchange was just as aware, they'll want to be a little bit more empathetic. They'll understand better, and they probably, in my opinion, perform a little bit better, because they know things now that they didn't know prior to, that the bottom may or may not. And if nothing else, it opens up conversation for everybody. In my opinion, this is what something like this is for.
Right. Yeah, it definitely was supposed to be, like I said, an educational piece, but not just an educational piece for folks who are bottoms. It was meant to be an educational piece, in part, mostly to the folks who aren't, to let them know that, hey, this is what's going on. You know what I mean? You gotta, understand that everything that is involved with being a bottom, and I do not firsthand. I'm sorry, it's just my choice.
Okay, wait. All right, so let's dig into that. You said you don't know firsthand,
right? Meaning, I've never experienced.
Right. So I feel like this is a great opportunity for educating everybody. So even though you don't know firsthand, and you don't have a need to know firsthand, how well do you know? Or do you think that what you do now is sufficient? And is it sufficient for both you and the partner? Is it sufficient just for you? is the bottom walking away with the same experience that you're walking away with. Now I know that you're in a relationship, so it's a little different, but like just with what you know, hypothetically, if you were meeting somebody, do you feel like you're just catering to yourself as the top, or do you do things to make sure? Do you have a arsenal of things in your bag that you can do to make sure that, hey, I'm going to enjoy myself because you're enjoying it? Like, yeah.
And this is, it depends on it back when it really depended on my mood. It really depended on my mood. If I was in the mood to please somebody while I was being pleased, then yeah, you know what I mean, I would do, you know what I mean. But if I wasn't in the mood for that and I just wanted to get it out, you know, then that was the whole objective.
Did the bottom get anything out of your moments of just wanting to be pleased, or did you include them in the process of saying, okay, today I want it to be about me, or I want to accomplish this. This is something that I need to get off, and like you're helping me, but it's really helping me with my need. Have you ever done that? And this is why we need to have these conversations, because I feel like there is a space where daddy gets what daddy wants, no questions asked. What you need, I got you. But I feel like the partner should be a part of that experience, because it'd be better than just like, now they ain't in it because they trying to achieve something and y'all didn't have a conversation. So now they're trying to help you achieve something, but they're not a part of the process. They're just the body. So I think like in those moments, and this is I brought it up because we were talking to Stoney, but this is definitely a general statement. I think in those moments, it's important to have those conversations, because sometimes you just want to get what you need. And I think if you include them, they'll do it better.
Right. No, I totally get that. And I totally get that. I was just going from a mindset, because now it's like, it's whatever. As long as the better half is, then I'm
and it
great.
It should be a mutual exchange. You know, that's that.
No, yeah, it is. But I'm more so on the fence now, where it's like, I really, you know, like I'm secondary, but that's because that's what drives that's how our dynamic
your relationship
is.
And your dynamic.
Yeah.
But see, but you know this. You guys have developed this, and that's what I'm saying. Like, for people to have these conversations and develop this. Now, here's the problem. A lot of times, we're talking about someone in a relationship versus the millions and millions and millions of people who are on Jack the Grinder. Whereas I'm not really interested in sitting and have a whole ass conversation about what you had to go through today to get to this point. I'm right here, right now. I'm ready to get mine off. I still think that you should create, like I asked about arsenal. You should create an arsenal of things to kind of like suggest things. I mean, if people hooking up off apps, you got every opportunity to say, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Are you down? But I think like that's something that should be said. And just to bring it right back, I think that understanding your partner, what your partner wants, or at least the basics of what most people go through, will make the experience so much better. Right. I'm sorry, I went on my own little tangent. I said
a lot of times don't understand what they is. A lot of times don't understand what they
go there. I'm gonna say got there.
Okay.
It goes back to what I just said about like a partner versus a hookup. I mean, those are two different dynamics. So
right.
But I do think that
I would think that typically hookups, or at least this is how I used to treat them. Like, you just everything is discussed before I even get to the door as to what's going to happen. Like, you know, hey, this is what I'm looking for. You know, hey, you know, and then it's like, okay, I'm looking for this. You know, and then it's like, okay, great, we match, so we know what's going on as soon as we at a meet or whatever.
Another conversation.
I don't know. Do they still go on like that? I would assume they do.
Would say that again?
I said I don't know. Do they still go on like that?
Say the part before that again for me.
What?
I had a brain fart. The part that you said, do they still do that again? Do they still do it again? I had a brain fart.
Oh, as far as do hookups like that, where they, you know,
I mean,
be like, hey,
think so. I do.
What you looking to get into?
I do. Yeah. I mean, I was just watching, and this is just so random. I was watching The Shrink Next Door with Will Ferrell and Paul Rudd, and I felt so bad for Will Ferrell's character because he was just so naive and gullible, and so basically Paul Rudd's character took advantage of him, and whatever Paul Rudd suggested, he did it, even down to like isolating himself from his family and friends, and the whole it's weird. But I bring that up because I couldn't imagine getting on a dating app, just hooking up with somebody, not having any idea what to expect, not setting any expectations or boundaries.
Yeah, no.
I just couldn't imagine putting myself in that situation. Right. And again, I do realize that people do.
Yeah, because there's memes out there with the boy, like, you know, with the one boy and the one boy sitting there like all in the fetal position naked, and then the other boy is like, you know, they're just like, oh, it's okay, I'm a bottom too, like, you know, like, and it's like, or it's like the two people and they're down on the, you know, and they're down on all fours looking at each other mad, like after they done had this great night. And then they get to the bedroom and then both of them are, you know, bent over like, who's good? Oh, like,
all right, yeah, this one is good. If I get to the door and his legs go up before mine, I'm not going to turn it down. So that's a very good point.
Right. So and it kind of spurred into, you know, like then that conversation started, and then that conversation kind of went into, you know, hey, are we, you know, like it was never meant to be anything malicious towards bottoms or exclusive of verse or tops. It was more or less an educational for everybody, and then to also, you know, uplift, because let's be real, bottom shaming is a real thing in our community. Like it is a real thing. Bottoms are looked at as, you know what I mean, like, oh, you punk, you know.
So that's kind of messed up to me, because I think about how the black heterosexual community looks at any gay man, and then for
because to the black heterosexual community, it doesn't matter.
Right.
We are all taking it. Like,
but that's my point, though. The fact that, you know, they don't know the intricacies of our lives, our sexual preferences or our activities, should I say, and they make judgments off of it, and we're all sissies and punks to them. But then you get into our community, and now we're going to shame somebody else for giving you what you want.
Right. Because let's be real. Like I was saying earlier, be real. Without bottoms, none of this would be possible. Okay? So bottoms deserve their flowers. All right? They deserve their flowers all the time. All right? And so, yeah. So, yes, it's called Bottoming 101. All right? Not, you know, out of bottom shaming, but, you know, to let people know that there's a lot that goes along with it. You know what I mean? And to let folks know that bottoms are what makes this gay world go round.
So, honestly, I think about, like, in what spaces we shame bottoms. Because we all, you know, people who live their productive lives, we go to work, or some people in school, you know, we have our circle of friends. And I think that's where we get to the space where we're comfortable shaming someone else. Again, for one, something that they're giving us, or two, something that we're doing ourselves. Where does this whole thing come from? Where did it come from? And why do we have this higher? And it's another parallel would be the way we treat women. The way men treat women is how tops, I guess, treat bottoms.
Yeah, it's an extrapolation of the hetero norms from the hetero world into the situations that, you know, that you know, we find ourselves in. You know what I mean? So and I think that is a familiarity thing, because humans in nature, like in general, we try to associate things with things that we're familiar with in order to cope with a new environment. You know what I mean? Like we always see faces and things, like things that Jesus is in the toast. Like Jesus is not in the toast, but in order for us to, like, you know,
I mean, that's a natural thing that the brain does anyway. It recognizes patterns and similarities.
But that's because, but that's a hardwired brain thing. But that's also in our nature, because again, our brain is hardwired to do things like that. You know what I mean? In order for
honestly.
Well, no, it's a survival mechanism, but
right. So it's survival, but it's surviving because society has said this is how you survive. You got to fit in this mold. You have to act this way, be this way, talk this way, work this job, drive that car, live in this type of house, get married by this age, have this amount of kids to be successful. We know that's not true, but because society has embedded it so deep into our programming, we follow the rat race.
Right. They overlaid that over our natural, you know what I mean, programming
and development
and everything. Yeah. And it's like, it's stuck. So and that is something that I think that as a community, we have to take it upon ourselves to kind of rid ourselves of. Yep. And I do think that putting on this seminar and, like I said, uplifting and educating folks about the bottom experience, you know, is a very, very good step. Even in you know, good old Columbus, Ohio, it is a small step.
But you know what?
Towards making
what
that.
I love about this situation is, one, there are going to be people coming in to Columbus
and then hearing those
having
things,
these conversations. I'm pretty sure at some point there might be some type of web version of this at some point where more people can hear it. And I really think that at some point there should just be an entire sex conference. I've been saying it for years. And like legit, and I'm not just talking about on some freak, we all come to just to get our rocks off. I mean like a real good, compelling sex education, top to bottom, male, female, verse, lesbian, straight, gay, trans, don't matter, toys, BDSM, like,
and because I genuinely, like, I don't think people understand how important a healthy sex life is for a person who values having a healthy sex life.
Right.
Okay. Because there are people out there who choose not to have sex, who just choose not to have sex, and that's their choice in life, and it's perfectly okay. You know what I mean? There are folks who, but if you choose to have sex, and especially depending upon, because you have to make a choice as to what kind of sex you're having, like we discussed earlier, whether you're a pleaser or a pleasee, you know what I mean, or whatever you're in the mood for. And people change with different people. With certain people, you know what I mean, you may be more of a pleaser. Then with certain people, you may want to be the pleasee.
There,
so
you don't have to be locked into
it's a fluid spectrum.
So there's a book I was reading. I still need to get my book back. But The Ethical Slut, and there's a segment in it that talks about what sex is, and how what sex is to you is different from what sex is to me, and it's different from each of our viewers. For some people who may not ever engage in any type of penetration, will completely get off on food porn. There are people who will never touch another person, but they'll play with toys.
There are people out there who love, who will not touch a person, but will get off on feet.
Exactly. So what stimulates you may not stimulate another person, and the other way around. What may not mean anything to you could be a sexual turn on for someone else. So it's possible to have a sexual exchange without the physical sexual contact. So it's like you got to get to a point where you open up your mind about sex and understand that it's different for everybody, and the positions and the activities, so that way we could better please ourselves and our partners. These are the conversations that we're not having.
It's like sex, the whole sexual, because that right there to me is what I call sexual preference, is what you like as far as sex is concerned. That to me is sexual preference. As far people say, "Oh, what's your sexual preference?" What do you mean? Why do you want to know if I'm a top, bottom, or like that's what I hear?
That
you know what
like
I mean?
Preference.
You know what I mean?
Prefer to be
so
this as a gay man, or
Whereas you're like, I would, and I would go as to say, where are you? And I think the more respectful question is, where are you as far as sexual fluidity is concerned? Are you more on the heterosexual side? Are you the bisexual side? Are you pansexual? Are you asexual?
Where are you on the spectrum?
Where are you on the the fluidity spectrum? Because it's all fluid. Because I'm not saying any disrespect to anybody, because like, the straight girls out there watching this gonna show this to their boyfriends and be like, listen to what they saying and stuff like that. And then they're gonna be like, no, cause there ain't no fluid over here. Ain't no fluid over here. I'm rock solid. I'm rock solid. Like I get it. And you may very well be. And good for you. All right. But all right, just like they say, and I'm a football guy, all right, and I'm rock solid on that, okay? And one thing that whenever you step foot on the football field is that any given Sunday, you can be beat. Whether you are the better team or not, you can be beat, okay? And you can lose that game, all right? So that's why you just go. That's why you just go, all right? And everything. And so, like I said, on any given day, you do not know the environment or what environment you could be in to where you are you that will open you up to things that you may not have figured you would be open up to, and you don't know that specific person who can open your mind up to that. So
I'm so torn on that because I agree.
That's why it's a fluidity.
All right, so here's my thing. I agree with you that on any given day, someone can introduce you to something that you never even knew was a thing for you.
Right.
But the thing that bothers me with that is there's so many people who just choose to say, this is who I am. Like you said, I'm solid on this. And it's like you never know what I always say you can't miss what you never had, but you never know what you're missing because there's certain things in life that, sometimes it comes with maturity, it comes with age, sometimes it comes with time, sometimes you just have to experiment in things. But and I'm not even just on a sexual level, in life in general, you got to be willing to take some chances. Like, I'm not saying go out there and hurt yourself. By all means, don't do that. That's my rule when it comes to sex. Do no harm. But beyond that, if it works for you, it works for you. And like, there are people who say, oh, I only did it because she was into it. That's not my thing. Well, one, kudos for experimenting and exploring. And then number two, maybe it is, because at some point, unless you're like that naive person I talked about earlier who just, oh, that's what they said, do, I'm just going to do it. But there's no harm in exploring your body. There's no harm in experimenting with your partner and figuring out new ways to enjoy each other.
Exactly. And another reason why we wanted to put on this seminar was to give folks, especially within our community, a safe platform to get the education to have that flashlight, to equip people with that flashlight that they may not have had to explore that certain part of the sexual force that they want to explore. There may be people there who have never bottomed, and then they may want to
laughing at PJ, laughing at us,
and then they may want to just explore that part after hearing about it, and then getting more education, and then hearing other people's experiences and stuff like that too, is to get the tools and the knowledge that they need and the comfortability that they need to explore that certain side of themselves. It's also to not just educate folks and everything, but it's also to be that spark that may light the fire that may allow you to really do other things that you never thought you could do and enjoy doing them.
Right. We were talking also about how people attach femininity to bottoming, as if masculine tops don't exist and feminine tops. I mean, masculine bottoms don't exist and feminine tops don't exist. And that's why I was like, where does the shaming come from? Because, like, one, sex is something very personal and private. Like, unless you're just putting yourself out there for people to know what your sexual role is, where does the shaming happen?
Again, and that goes to, like we had touched on earlier, with especially within the Black and brown and marginalized community.
I need to practice that.
We are definitely, it's ingrained in us that hey, and there are folks with come out stories, parents and stuff like that, who have said, oh, and when they found out that oh, my son's a top, oh, thank God, like it's a relief for them that their son isn't,
so
you know what I mean,
associate,
like, because it's it's again that those heteronormative, extrapolations.
Even beyond heteronormative extrapolations, people associate a man getting done as him being emasculated.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah.
Like that is the way it's just looked at. Like if you are bottoming, then you are emasculated. You're giving your manhood to somebody else.
It's literally called though. Let nobody take your manhood.
Exactly.
Like
exactly. So I think it's automatically associated with shame.
Right.
Because you don't have no pride if you like. And I don't know why. And maybe there is a history to that, but I think that's something I need to look up because I don't want to talk ignorantly about it.
And then that also goes to the whole buck breaking, which used to happen on the slave ships coming over.
And that's why I'm like taking a step back real quick. And
yeah.
I'm not condoning or excusing it, but I just want to know more of the history of it because I know it didn't just come out of nowhere. It's like when the slave owners would do this in front of his family, his wife and children. They did it intentionally to diminish their manhood,
right,
and take away that authority
for them to establish, for the dominance to be on their side.
Exactly.
They did it to instill, what I mean, that and I think that's honestly where we get it from, because let's be real, there were and black folks, stop this crap too. Stop this bull crap too that we got going on in our communities, where we like to have this notion that the gay wasn't in the black wasn't with black folks until the white man came.
Right.
You know what I mean? No, okay. That is totally false. Go look at walls in Egypt, okay? Go look at walls in Egypt, okay? It is there.
The Bible.
All right.
That's the part that gets
it is
me.
There. All right.
So that's the part that gets me, because homosexuality is actually mentioned in the Bible, but not as homosexuality.
Right.
It just talks about the way one man loved another man, the way a man would love his wife. And that man I'm talking about is King David. And Saul's son Jonathan, they loved each other the way a man will love a wife. The Bible literally says that. So what do you think that meant? They were just good friends? No. That they were boinking in the cave? Yes.
Go look at there is artifacts. I literally showed you an artifact.
The Bible says that David was a man of God's own heart. And God knew about it. And God even allowed it.
And that's in the Old Testament.
Old Testament,
which is the part that I always called the book of cautionary fairy tales.
Well, it's a lot more than that. It's also a book of laws and rules and like what's the word I'm looking
That's
for?
The cautions.
Statutes and things.
Those are the cautions.
Yeah.
The rest are fairy tales, and then you got the real Bible in the back. That's just me, but whatever.
That's him.
Yeah. So
not me.
Yeah. Because it concentrates on the important person.
My views are different too. So, would you say?
I said because that second half concentrates on the important person who had it right. So,
okay, got you.
All right. So yeah, and he's the way. So that's what it is. That's the way. So, yeah, off of that there, but that I don't know. It's another point of why we should put this seminar.
That's
on.
what. So I think there's so many ideas in the room. There's so many possibilities that could be explored in conversation.
Right.
If we treat
and
these
it's
types
not
of conversations,
and it doesn't center around bottoming.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because we just did a whole 40 minutes of a show just talking about the gripes and the other and basically just pointing out the reasons why, because these people are bringing up issues with this seminar. Yeah. But and these are all conversations that need to happen,
right? So having these getting these people together in a room, and the conversation, like our conversation, starting out with, okay, hello, my name is such and such, and this is Bottoming 101. I'm more than sure that an hour into the conversation in a room full of 20 or 50 or 100 people, the conversation is going to go in 10 different ways. We all have different experiences. And it adds. So I want to have more conversations like this to be able to open up how we approach sex, how we approach our partners, how we approach the world. Like, obviously, every conversation doesn't have to be about sex, but let's start these conversations that we don't usually like talking
because this
about.
Conversation, but from this conversation, you know what I mean? From that sexual conversation stems a conversation about masculinity. Causes people to confront the level of masculinity that they're comfortable with being, or that they're comfortable with embracing. because what the level of masculinity that I'm comfortable with may be different for the level of masculinity that Kevin is comfortable with displaying. Right. You know what I mean? Like, and the level of masculinity that he's comfortable with displaying may be uncomfortable for me, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day.
And that's the whole point. At the end of the day, that's the point. What does it matter?
Yeah.
Because at the end, this is my bro. We're gonna be bros,
right?
And we're not gonna allow something about who's more masculine or less masculine be something to say, "Oh, well, you're different."
Yeah,
that's stupid. That's just stupid to me. We do better together than us apart. No, I'm good.
I think that's where we need to get to as a community, also.
Yes,
we're and you're okay to hang out with people that you are like. We're not saying everybody needs to hang out with, you know what I mean? Oh, you a thug, you need to hang out with fairy princess over there. No, we're not saying that.
I will challenge that though, because if you keep hanging out with the same people and this is the way you think, challenge yourself to step outside your box, because there's people, they say, yeah, birds of a feather fly together. Yeah, but that's just a reflection of what your whole crew thinks now. So expand your horizons,
right?
Learn other cultures. I was watching on
Learn how to be uncomfortable.
Oh my gosh, you just preached a sermon.
Yeah,
that was our Sunday sermon.
Yeah.
Learn how to be uncomfortable.
And that's the thing. And a lot of people, and see, we're talking about, see how this bottoming thing done turned into a whole generational conversation, because a lot of people look at our generation, all right, him being an older millennial, me being a middle millennial, but we're still because the millennials are kind of split in half. You got the older millennials, which I'm a part of, but I'm on the back end side, and you got the younger millennials, and the thing that is different between, and then you have Gen Z, all right, and the thing with the younger millennials and Gen Z that are different than the older millennials, and I'm talking from, I would even go as far as to say 1990 and back to like 1980. I think they said it starts in 80, 83, 82 is when the millennials start. 81. Okay, 81. All right. So from 81 to 1990 are the older millennials. All right. Then you have the 91s to 2000s. Yeah. Those are the new millennials. Yeah. All right. They do not know or can function at being uncomfortable, because you have to figure, all right, they are the ones who really grew up with internet being readily available.
Yeah.
They are the ones who didn't really have to grow up with the dial-up. Somebody born between 91 and 2000, they don't know what a dial-up tone is.
Yes, you do. If you
but they don't know the struggle.
2010, maybe not.
Well, yeah, no, 90. but they don't know the struggle, like from 81 to 89 are.
True, but we don't really know that struggle either, because I mean, we did have dial-up, but
and then but also just to further prove my point, right? Our generation, that portion of the millennial generation played outside.
That part. So we are the most fortunate and unfortunate generation, in my opinion.
But they didn't use, and they didn't use. And because my little brother is born in that second half, my little brother, my little sister, they didn't learn how to use abacuses in preschool and stuff like that. I learned how to use an abacus in preschool. Like, these are things like they didn't learn cursive.
Right. Wait.
Right.
Isn't it like a generation where they're not teaching cursive at all
now? Yeah. Gen Z has not been taught cursive unless they took a handwriting elective in like middle school.
It's like this. Our generation, we did come up with like game systems and cell phones and things like that. The birth of the internet,
right,
on a mass scale. We got these things and we felt so advanced.
We used a rotary phone.
We did.
They never used a rotary phone.
We never used an 8-track either.
Well,
you may have had access to one, but that was not your thing.
It was not my thing.
So the point that I'm making is
around,
just like the boomers and Gen X, had things that look at us like, what the hell are y'all doing? Y'all crazy, and they call us crazy or they call us privileged. And listen, we need to stick to this way because this is the way it works. We also have to consider that the generations behind us are living in a different world where maybe cursive they barely text full sentences anymore.
True.
So and
they barely
it's
text words
100%
now. It's
exactly, and it's 100% acceptable. No one's looking at you crazy. No one's saying, "Oh, you can't spell."
Right, but you also have to figure everybody has to have a signature.
Okay.
Because you're going to sign some papers at some point in time, and can't tell you how many
But
kids.
You know
like
what?
Kids
Everything,
signature.
but you know how everything is so digital. You know how many times I've signed on a thing, or they said you just want to type it in, and it's legally binding. I'm telling you, things are changing so much that
You're going to come with stickers now with this name. Okay,
just put your thumbprint on it, which is a lot more exclusive to you. No one's going to forge your thumbprint.
True.
So my point is like things have changed and the approach to things are different. So it's okay. Maybe we should adapt. Maybe we should phase out. I don't know. I ain't ready to phase out yet. But my point is like the approach is different, but these conversations should still remain. I think it gives us the opportunity to have these conversations because generations in the past, as we know, historically shows that we don't have these conversations. So I think the blessing is we're approaching a generation that's already ready to have these conversations. So it might be good. And that's another thing to look at. What was the demographic of the person who had a problem with this?
Right. Were they younger? Were they an older person?
Right.
You know, who knows? But so we get a little bit of backlash, but I felt like our show was definitely a very good platform to, hash out a little bit of those conversations, and to provoke those conversations amongst all of you out there, because we would hope that you guys hear things on our show, and go and bounce those off of, if you jive with it, bounce it off of your people.
Right.
If you know people who don't jive with it, bounce it off of them anyway. Because at the end of the day, we got to be comfortable with hearing different points of views and being comfortable with those feedback too.
So I was having a conversation with someone about planting a seed. And they said to me, I'm gonna plant a seed and I'm gonna go back home and I'm gonna rest and wait for the harvest. I'm like, that's not how it works. You just got to keep planting seeds and tending to the seeds so that you can get a harvest. And it's not until you have an abundant harvest that you can even think about resting.
Right.
That was a little preachy moment I wanted to give y'all. But the point behind that is like having these conversations, sometimes it don't seem like they penetrate. And like people are just so stubborn that it's like, no, I'm just not going to hear it. This is the way it's working for me, or it don't work for me. And instead of stressing myself out, I'm going to leave it alone. Sometimes you just got to be confident in, hey, I planted a seed, let it take root where it will, and just hope that it does the best thing for that person. I think that, I've been planting seed for years, and eventually it's going to grow because this man going to give up some cakes eventually. I may not even be the one to enjoy the benefits because he's already spoken for it, but he's giving up some cakes at some point. The seed's been planted. See, this is what I'm talking about. See, he's just so closed down, so closed-minded.
There is no fertile ground for those seeds here.
Oh, the ground is pretty fertile. Anyway, but no, stay open-minded about things in life in general. But in terms of these conversations, keep your mind open. And everything ain't for everybody. So I don't expect that everyone's gonna say, "Oh, I'm going to be a bottom now," because what is a world full of bottoms and no tops? So that's not the goal, obviously. But more so that we can understand each other better. We can help each other get to
bumper cars.
I mean, it works for some people, I guess.
And they got the two Joe Jones where it's like,
that's a little bit X-rated for this show. As much as we talk about stuff, that's a little X-rated.
It is. And speaking of, but if you want to be, if you want variety, right? Speaking of X-rated, you like X-rated, but you also like, thought-provoking moments. We have been talking about it for a while, and we're going to keep talking about it until it's over. We're going to talk about it after it's over too, because we want you guys to really be a part of something special. So go to Kingsfinity. All right, kingfinity.org. there.
Yes.
All right. And Rico Black was there as well. And they shut it down. All right. But we got to follow it up. We got to do something. Like, we got to do something. You know what I mean? I think I should be talking with a list right now. We got to do something.
Oh, like, God.
Something better. Like,
I'm done. I am done.
So we thought, who can we get? All right. Well, it happened to be Kai's birthday party. Kai's birthday around that time. So we was like, oh, well, let's throw him a birthday splash party.
So let me tell you, for the longest, I have not known this man personally. I've just sent like maybe a message here and there on Twitter. And then we did the Playboy Cabin. I freaking adore Kyng Kevyn. So I'm gonna be really happy to be in the building with Kyng Kevyn and help celebrate his birthday with his other bro.
Yep.
Mr. Zaddy Crevinas.
Oh, that booty.
So it's gonna be a splash party with Kyng Kevyn, Zaddy Crevinas, and yours truly.
So this is going to be much fun. Sexual chocolate in the building.
This is gonna be fun.
Oh my goodness.
And the chemistry that they have, and that I'm trying to get in on, because they got a dope ass chemistry. It's gonna be fun.
Oh, it's gonna be amazing. Yeah. So come enjoy the pool party. It is gonna be a pool party. What cookout? Midnight swimming cookout. So we're swimming under the stars. It's gonna be a cookout. It's gonna be a live party at a beautiful venue in Club Columbus. Great opportunity to really interact with, folks that you guys admire from afar. All right, and this tickets, kingfinity.org/Pride22 today. And then we have the Swipe Right event after that. All right, which is a speed dating event. All right, giving you guys an opportunity to mix and mingle. All right. And then we have Sunday.
That was the blow.
That was Sunday is the blow party.
Yes.
Sunday. All right.
But see, there's more stuff. I'm gonna have to get an updated flyer for this.
We are.
There are more, like the bottom in 101. There's gonna be some health talks. There's gonna be some body positivity going on.
Yes.
It's like so much else going on. So we'll update these flyers.
Go to Kingfinity, kingfinity.com or .org. I'm sorry, kingfinity.org/Pride22. All right. Get the entire rundown of the events. All right, there we go. Right down there at the bottom, kingfinity.org/Pride22. Get the full rundown. All right. Hey, if you have a business, all right, if you want to start a business, right, and you just want an opportunity to get your wares out in front, all right, be a vendor. Go to kingsfinity.org. We got vendor slots available. All right, for you guys to really be supported by a community that you are a part of. And even if you're not a part of it, even if you know somebody, you got an uncle that got a food truck, show him this video. Yep. All right, because he could drive that food truck right on out to Columbus, make a bunch of money. All
Absolutely.
Right. So hey, you know somebody, and especially if they're a person of black and brown of the black and brown marginalized community. If you know somebody who is a vendor, who is an entrepreneur, who definitely can, benefit from being exposed to a national audience that's coming in from all 50 states, and wants to have an opportunity to get, tons and tons of exposure and make some money. Hey, get in touch with us, kingsfinity.org/Pride22. Become a vendor, buy your VIP tickets, be a part of this history making event. All right. Because hey, they're gonna be like, where were you? All right.
Yes.
Where were you? You want to definitely be in the building because we gonna be there.
While y'all at it, before we go, there's a little website right over here. Right there. Thanks, Tony. KevinM.com. Now, if you go on that site, you're gonna be able to see the stuff for Kingfinity, but you'll also be able to get your copy of A Life of Lust, Memoirs of the Porn Star.
Bam!
Yeah, this book right here that I wrote. It talks about me being a child preacher to a young adult porn star, to HIV, to being shot, to other things I've been through in porn, in relationships. It's all there. And you can get a copy of it for $24.99 plus shipping and handling. Not a shameless plug because I have no shame. Enjoy the book. And Thor would really appreciate it if you guys brought his daddy's book. Thor
loves the book. He gives it 2 paws up.
Hold on. 2 paws up.
2 paws up.
That was shameless. For real. One way or another, love you guys so much. Thank you for watching another hour of the GreatMines Show. Stone, you got anything you want to say to the people?
Thank y'all for coming. God bless you. Good night.